What if the very thing you are waiting for is waiting for you to step into the unknown? Have you ever noticed how much of your life is spent standing on the edge of a decision, paralyzed by what you cannot see? You see an opportunity. You feel a quiet calling in your heart. A new path, a new relationship, a new chapter in your life. But you do not step forward. Instead, you wait. You wait for a guarantee. You wait to know exactly how it will all end before you are willing to begin. If you have ever felt stuck, exhausted by your own mind, or afraid to take a step because you cannot predict the outcome, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this fear forever. Why do we do this? We tell ourselves we are just being careful. We say we are planning, preparing, making sure everything is perfectly aligned. But deep down, it is not preparation, it is fear. We are terrified of uncertainty. We replay every possible scenario in our minds, trying to solve a puzzle that has not even been built yet. We think that if we just overthink enough, if we just analyze every detail, we can eliminate the risk. We try to force the future to show its hand before we are willing to place our bet. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us something profoundly different. It teaches that suffering arises not from the unknown, but from our desperate attempt to control it. The mind craves certainty. It wants a map. It wants to know where every step will land. But life is not a map. It is a flowing river. And when you try to grasp the water to hold it still, it simply slips through your clenched fingers. The harder you squeeze, the less you hold. Imagine a boat tied tightly to a dock. The water is rough, the wind is howling, and the wood of the dock is starting to splinter. The boat is designed for the open water, built to move with the waves, to rise and fall with the tide. But because it is tied down, every wave crashes violently against it. The rope strains. The boat takes on water. The captain refuses to untie the rope, believing the dock is the only safe place, terrified of where the current might take them. But the truth is, the boat is breaking because it is tied to the dock. The danger is not the open ocean. The danger is the refusal to untie the rope. We do this in our own lives. We hold back from the new job, the move, the difficult conversation, the creative spark. We stay tied to the dock of what is familiar, even as it splinters around us, because the open water of the unknown feels too vast. We suffer the quiet pain of a life unlived, simply because we cannot predict the weather. Ask yourself, what are you still holding on to? What rope are you gripping so tightly that it is burning your hands? What is the opportunity you are ignoring because you cannot see the finish line? Is this hesitation bringing you peace, or is it feeding your fear? Pause, breathe, observe the fear, without letting it steer the ship. Notice how it tries to convince you that safety is found in standing still. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to fight the fear. You simply have to recognize that it is a passing cloud, not the sky itself. You do not need to see the whole ocean to untie the rope. You only need the courage to trust the water. Because peace is not found by predicting the future. It is found by fully inhabiting the present. But letting go of our need for certainty is only the first step. And this is where the next truth begins. 2. The illusion of guarantees. What if the safety you are desperately seeking does not actually exist? Here is the truth few people want to face. The tighter you hold on to the need for certainty, the more you suffer. We live in a world that seems to demand a guaranteed return on investment for everything we do. You want to know that if you take the new opportunity, it will be the right move. You want to know that if you open your heart again, you will not be broken. You want a promise that your time, your energy, and your vulnerability will not be wasted. So you wait for a sign. You wait for a feeling of absolute, unbreakable certainty. You tell yourself that when you are fully ready, and when the path is completely clear without a single shadow of doubt, Then you will finally take the step. You analyze the possibilities until your mind is completely exhausted. But the waiting becomes a habit. The analysis becomes a shield. And slowly, without you even realizing it, that shield becomes a cage. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the desire for permanence in a changing world is the root of our heaviest burdens. The concept of attachment does not just apply to physical objects or to people. We are deeply attached to outcomes. We are attached to the idea of a safe, predictable future. But Buddhism reminds us of the profound truth of impermanence. Everything is constantly in motion. We seek guarantees in a universe defined by flux. Impermanence is not a threat to be managed. It is the fundamental nature of existence. When we demand that a shifting, breathing world stand perfectly still for us before we agree to participate in it, we are fighting the very fabric of reality. Imagine someone trying to catch the wind in a glass jar. They run through the fields, swinging the jar, trying to capture a warm breeze so they can keep it safely on a shelf forever. They want to own the wind. They want to be sure it will always be there, exactly as it was. But the moment they screw the lid on tight, the wind is gone. Only stagnant air remains. The wind is only beautiful because it moves. It only has life because it is free. We do this with our daily choices. We try to capture the perfect moment, the perfect decision, the perfect outcome, and trap it in a jar of certainty. We try to perfectly arrange our careers, our relationships, and our paths, believing that once everything is locked in place and fully predictable, we will finally be allowed to relax. But life cannot be bottled. An opportunity is like the wind, it must be experienced in motion. If you refuse to step outside unless the wind promises to blow exactly the way you want, you will spend your entire life watching the sky from behind a window, missing the beauty of the day. Ask yourself, are you trying to trap the wind? Are you refusing to live because life will not sign a contract with you? Think about your own life. What are you afraid will happen if you simply let the wind blow without knowing its direction? Pause, breathe, feel the space around you. Acknowledge the deep desire for a guarantee. Watch that desire rise in your mind, and then gently release it. Do your part, then release the outcome. You cannot control the wind, but you can learn to trust your ability to navigate. Because true security is not found by building stronger walls to keep the unknown out. It is found by learning to walk into the open field, knowing the weather will change, and trusting that you will survive the rain. But realizing there are no guarantees often leaves us stranded in a strange, silent place of hesitation. And this is where the next truth begins. 3. The danger of the waiting room. What if the place you feel safest is actually the place where your life is quietly slipping away? Here is a truth that is difficult to sit with. Waiting is not always patience. Sometimes, waiting is just fear wearing a safe disguise. We convince ourselves we are being wise. We tell ourselves we are simply waiting for the right moment, the right time to take that opportunity to move to a new place, to speak our truth, or to finally start the path we have been secretly dreaming of. We say that we will do it when the timing is perfect. We will leap when our confidence is finally high enough. But days turn into months, and months blur into years. We live in the heavy space between what is and what could be. We turn our own lives into a waiting room. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the only moment we truly possess is this exact one, right now. The future is a projection of the mind, a ghost that has not yet taken shape. By constantly living in anticipation of a perfect future condition, we are abandoning the present entirely. In Buddhist thought, mindfulness is not just sitting quietly on a cushion. It is the courageous act of meeting reality exactly as it is, without demanding that it become comfortable first. When we wait for the perfect moment to live, We miss the only moment where life actually happens. Imagine a traveler sitting in a grand, quiet train station. They have a ticket in their hand for a journey they have always deeply wanted to take. Trains arrive and depart. The whistle blows, the heavy doors open, but the traveler never boards. They look up at the sky, waiting for the weather to be perfectly clear. They watch the tracks, waiting for absolute proof that the train will not break down along the way. They want a guarantee of a perfectly smooth ride. So they wait. Eventually, the station grows dark. The final train departs. The traveler is perfectly safe. They are perfectly dry, and they have gone absolutely nowhere. They successfully avoided the risk of a turbulent ride, but they missed the entire journey. We sit in our own stations every day. We stay in the situation that drains us because it is familiar, waiting for the perfect path to magically appear before we take a step. We hold back our creative ideas, waiting until we know we will not be judged. We delay our own growth, waiting for a day when we finally feel entirely ready. But readiness is rarely a feeling that arrives. It is a choice you make in the presence of doubt. Ask yourself, what train are you letting pass by? What are you waiting to feel before you allow yourself to move forward? Is the perfect moment actually coming, or are you just hiding in the waiting room of your own mind? Pause, breathe, feel the solid ground beneath your feet. Bring your attention back to this exact second. Stop waiting for the fear to completely disappear. You can let the hesitation exist in your mind without letting it lock the door. You do not have to be fearless to take the next step. You only have to be willing to walk out of the station, because the longer you sit waiting for life to offer you a guarantee, the heavier the waiting becomes. But stepping out of that room requires a profound shift in how we hold our expectations. And this is where the next truth begins. 4. The wisdom of the open hand. What if the tension you feel in your life is not coming from the world around you, but from the tightness of your own grip? Here is the truth. We often try to hold on to outcomes the way a drowning person holds onto a rock. We think that if we squeeze hard enough, we can force life to go our way. We outline our goals, our timelines, and the exact way a new opportunity needs to unfold for us to feel secure. If we take a risk on a new career path, it must pay off immediately. If we open ourselves up to a new connection, it must lead exactly where we want it to. We grip our expectations so tightly that our knuckles turn white. But this gripping does not create security. It only creates exhaustion. We spend all our energy trying to micromanage the unknown, completely draining ourselves before we have even taken the first real step. In Buddhist thought, this desperate gripping is known as attachment, and it is the primary engine of our suffering. Non-attachment is a concept that is often deeply misunderstood. It is not about not caring. It is not coldness, apathy, or giving up on your dreams. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that we can engage with life fully, deeply, and passionately, without demanding that life bend to our will. Buddhism reminds us that we are invited to practice holding our desires, our plans, and our opportunities with an open hand rather than a clenched fist. Imagine trying to hold a handful of dry sand. If you rest the sand gently in your open, upturned palm, it stays there. It forms a quiet, still mound. You can carry it with you for miles. But the moment you become afraid of losing it, the moment you panic and clench your fist to keep it absolutely safe, the sand immediately begins to slip through your fingers. The harder you squeeze, the faster it pours away. You fight to hold on, but eventually your hand is completely empty, aching and tired from the effort of trying to force it to stay. We do this with the opportunities in front of us. We are offered a chance to try something new, a different role at work, a new creative project, a chance to speak our minds or change our direction. At first, the idea rests gently in our lives. But then the fear sets in. We try to control what our peers will think if we fail. We try to force the opportunity, to guarantee our success before we commit to it. We try to squeeze the shifting, unpredictable nature of life into a rigid shape of guaranteed safety. And in doing so, we crush the very joy and potential that drew us to the opportunity in the first place. Ask yourself, what are you currently trying to squeeze into submission? Look at the opportunity you are holding back from. Are you afraid to start because you realize you cannot control the sand? What would happen if you simply let it rest in your palm? Pause, breathe, look at your own hands, relax your grip. You can hold your goals and your dreams gently. Let the feeling of needing absolute control rise, and then let it pass without acting on it. Do your part, then release the outcome. You can care deeply about an opportunity without letting its unpredictable outcome hold you hostage. Because stepping into the unknown with an open hand changes everything. But releasing your grip will inevitably stir up the very emotions you have been trying to avoid. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. Fear is only a passing cloud. What if the voice telling you to run away is not actually telling the truth? Here is a truth that is hard to hear when your heart is racing. Your fear is not a prophecy. We often mistake the sheer intensity of our fear for the accuracy of its predictions. When an unpredictable opportunity arises, a chance to speak up, to pivot careers, to move somewhere new, or to offer your genuine self to the world, your mind floods with a sudden, overwhelming panic. You feel a physical weight in your chest. The mind immediately begins to generate visions of failure, rejection, and ruin. And because this feeling is so strong, we assume it must be a warning. We believe that because we feel terrified, disaster is absolutely certain. We treat our anxiety as an oracle, and we let it dictate our limits. We step back from the edge, convinced that the fear was trying to save our lives. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the profound practice of observing the mind rather than immediately believing it. We are taught that thoughts and emotions are not the solid core of who we are. They are transient, temporary events. In Buddhist thought, one of the most powerful lessons is to become the quiet watcher of your emotions, rather than becoming hopelessly tangled in them. Buddhism reminds us that fear is not a permanent state, nor is it a final truth. It is simply an energetic response, rising, peaking, and eventually falling away. You do not have to obey every thought that crosses your mind. Imagine a vast, clear blue sky. The sky is boundless, quiet, and completely untouched by the earth below. Suddenly, a massive, dark storm cloud rolls in. It covers the sun entirely. The world turns grey, the wind howls, and heavy rain begins to fall. If you only look at the dense, dark cloud, you might easily believe that the sky itself is broken. You might believe the storm is permanent, but the sky is not the storm. The sky simply holds the storm. The sky does not fight the cloud, it simply allows it to pass, and eventually, the wind shifts. The dark cloud breaks apart, drifts away, and fades into nothing. The blue sky is still there, perfectly calm, exactly as it always was. We do this in our own modern lives. When we are faced with the vast unknown of a new opportunity, the dark storm cloud of fear rolls in. It tells us we are not ready. It tells us we will look foolish, that we will fail, that we will lose everything we have built. We cancel the interview. We delete the unread email. We pull back from the relationship. We let the storm completely dictate our actions because we forget that we are the sky. We let a temporary weather pattern talk us out of our permanent potential. Ask yourself, are you letting a temporary cloud define the entire sky of your life? Think about your own mind. When the fear of the unknown rises, do you simply observe it, or do you immediately surrender to it? Is this thought bringing you peace or feeding your fear? Pause. Breathe. Notice the fear in your chest without trying to push it away. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Let the storm pass without becoming the storm. You are not powerless. You do not have to obey a feeling that is already on its way out. You can feel the fear and still choose to take the step, because realizing that fear is just passing weather allows you to finally move forward even when your knees are shaking. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The courage to step into the dark. What if the darkness you are afraid of is not an ending, but the very place where your new life begins? Here is a difficult truth. Clarity rarely comes before you take the step. It only arrives while you are walking. We deeply crave illumination. We want a bright spotlight showing us the exact trajectory of our choices. We hold back from a career shift, a creative leap, or a difficult life change because we cannot see 5 steps ahead. We stand at the edge of the forest, waiting for the sun to rise, demanding that the path prove it is safe before we agree to walk it. We forget that some of the most important journeys of our lives must begin in the quiet of the night. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to walk into the unknown with an open heart. In Buddhist thought, the darkness of uncertainty is not an enemy to be defeated or a puzzle to be perfectly solved. It is a fertile ground. We are reminded to trust our inner light and our capacity to adapt, rather than demanding that the external world provide all the answers up front. Imagine a tiny seed buried deep in the earth. The soil around it is heavy, cold, and pitch black. The seed cannot see the sun. It has no map of the surface, no guarantee that it will ever break through the dirt, and no proof that the sky even exists. If the seed waited for light before it decided to grow, it would stay buried forever. It must begin its work in complete darkness. It must push through the heavy resistance of the soil, trusting entirely in a warmth it has not yet felt. The darkness is not a tomb for the seed. It is the womb of its transformation. We face our own heavy soil every time we meet the unknown. When you are offered a chance to step outside your comfort zone, or a sudden opportunity shifts your life off its predictable track, it feels like being thrust into the dark. You cannot see how the finances will perfectly align, or how others will judge you, or who you will become on the other side. So you freeze. You try to research and analyze your way into the light. But just like the seed, your growth requires you to move before you can see the sky. Ask yourself, are you waiting for the sun to shine before you are willing to grow? Think about your own life. What part of your journey is quietly asking you to trust the dark? Is your demand for absolute clarity keeping you buried? Pause, breathe, feel the quiet strength inside you. Stop trying to force the door open with a map that does not exist. Trust that you have enough light within you to see just the very next step. You do not need to see the entire staircase to climb. You only need the courage to lift your foot, because when you stop fighting the darkness, you begin to see the profound beauty of a world that is constantly shifting. And this is where the next truth begins. 7. Embracing the beauty of impermanence. What if the very changes you are trying to prevent are the only things capable of setting you free? Here is the truth. We spend so much of our lives trying to build monuments out of moments that were only meant to be passing breezes. We find a comfortable place in our lives, a stable routine, a quiet, familiar rhythm. And when a new, unpredictable opportunity arrives, we pull back. Not because the opportunity is bad, but because saying yes to the new means saying goodbye to the old. We hold back from stepping forward because we cannot predict what we will have to leave behind. We try to freeze time. We cling to our current reality, terrified that if we let the wheel of life turn, we might lose our footing. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the nature of all things is impermanence. Everything is in a constant state of becoming and dissolving. When we resist this flow, when we try to make temporary things permanent, we create our own profound suffering. Buddhism reminds us that impermanence is not a tragedy. It is not a flaw in the universe. It is the very reason growth, healing, and joy are even possible. Without impermanence, there is no transformation. Imagine a bright, clear river flowing rapidly toward the great ocean. The water moves gracefully, winding around heavy rocks and bending through deep valleys. But suddenly, the river decides it is afraid of the ocean. It cannot predict how wide, how deep, or how heavy the ocean will be. It fears losing its identity as a river. So, the water tries to stop. It pools into a hollow depression in the earth, refusing to move forward. Slowly, the water stops flowing. It becomes completely still. Then, it becomes stagnant. It gathers debris. It loses its clarity, its energy, and its life. The river was only beautiful and only alive because it was willing to keep moving toward an unknown end. We try to dam up the rivers of our own lives. We refuse a new challenge because it will change the dynamic we are used to. We stay in a situation we have completely outgrown because leaving feels like erasing our history. We cling to an old, familiar version of ourselves, terrified that embracing an unpredictable opportunity will wash away who we used to be. We choose the stagnant pool over the vast, terrifying, beautiful ocean of our own potential. Ask yourself, where are you trying to stop the river from flowing? What old version of your life are you desperately trying to keep alive at the expense of your own growth? Are you holding back from an opportunity simply because you are afraid of how things will change? Pause. Breathe. Feel the natural movement of your own breath, rising and falling, never staying perfectly still. You do not have to hold on to everything you have ever been. Let the feeling of loss rise without making it your identity. Let life meet you where you are and let it carry you where you need to go. You can honor the past without trapping yourself inside of it. You can love a chapter of your life without demanding that it never ends. Because realizing that nothing lasts forever is the key to finally acting in the present moment. But stepping into the river means trusting that you do not have to control every ripple in the current. And this is where the next truth begins. 8. Doing your part and releasing the rest. What if you could pour your entire heart into an opportunity and then walk away completely at peace with whatever happens next? Here is a truth that can change the way you move through the world. Your responsibility ends the exact moment your action is complete. We live under the heavy delusion that we are responsible for everything. When we finally gather the courage to take a step into the unknown, whether it is stepping into a new career path, sharing a deeply personal project, or telling someone how we truly feel, we immediately try to manage the result. We try to manipulate the reactions of others. We agonize over the response. We tie our entire sense of self-worth to a finish line we cannot control. We believe that if the outcome is not exactly what we envisioned, then we have somehow failed. We drag the heavy burden of the future on our backs while trying to walk forward in the present. Buddhist wisdom teaches a profound lesson about the nature of action. It asks us to cultivate deep intention and mindful effort, but to completely detach from the fruit of that labor. In Buddhist thought, you are the master of your actions, but you are not the master of the universe. When we learn to separate our effort from the final result, we step out of the cycle of anxiety. We discover that true peace comes from the purity of our intention, not the predictability of the outcome. Imagine a dedicated farmer standing in an open field. The farmer knows exactly what to do. They clear the heavy stones. They turn the soil. They carefully plant the seeds in straight, deliberate rows. They carry water to the field every single morning. The farmer does everything within their power to cultivate the crop. But the farmer cannot command the sun to shine. They cannot force the rain to fall. They cannot control the sudden frost or the shifting of the wind. If the farmer sits in the dirt, demanding that the clouds bring rain exactly when they want it, they do not change the weather. They only destroy their own peace. We do this in our modern lives every time we take a risk. We plant the seed of a new endeavor, and then we sit in the dirt and yell at the sky. We try to control the hiring manager, the market, the audience, or the person we opened our heart to. We obsess over the weather of other people's minds. We forget that our only job was to plant the seed. Your job is to show up. Your job is to speak your truth. Your job is to take the step with courage. The rest does not belong to you. Ask yourself, where are you trying to control the weather? Think about the opportunity you are facing right now. Are you exhausted because you are trying to do the universe's job as well as your own? Pause, breathe. Bring your focus back to your own hands. Do your part, then release the outcome. Let the world respond however it will. You do not have to carry the weight of the whole sky on your shoulders, because true freedom is realizing that you only ever had to walk your own path. And this is where the final truth begins. 9. The freedom of simply being here. We began this journey standing on the edge of a decision, the quiet, heavy space where you have stood paralyzed, looking out at an opportunity, but waiting for a guarantee before you take a step. You have spent so much time trying to predict the outcome, trying to eliminate the risk of a broken heart, a failed plan, or a misstep. You believed that if you just held on tightly enough, you could keep yourself perfectly safe. But look at what that endless waiting has truly cost you. You have tied your boat to a splintering dock. You have tried to trap the free wind in a glass jar. You have sat quietly in the waiting room while the trains departed without you, choosing the stagnant pool over the vast, living ocean of your own potential, all to protect yourself from the natural movement of a breathing, shifting world. We try so desperately to build a fortress against uncertainty, completely forgetting that we are locking ourselves inside. But peace was never going to be found in perfect control. It was only ever going to be found in perfect presence. The opportunity in front of you right now, the quiet calling in your heart, the new path, the difficult step, the unknown chapter is not a math equation waiting to be perfectly solved. It is simply an invitation to trust your own deep resilience, an invitation to let the sand rest gently in your open, upturned palm. When you finally stop fighting the darkness of the unknown, you realize you have always had enough light within you to see the very next step. You do not need to know exactly how the story ends in order to turn the page. Buddhism teaches us that our heaviest suffering ends the moment we stop demanding that life be something other than what it is. The universe is defined by impermanence. The river is meant to flow. The seed is meant to break through the dark, heavy soil, and you are meant to move forward. Not because you are guaranteed a perfectly smooth road, but because you are deeply capable of walking it, regardless of the weather. Think about that. Think about the tremendous freedom in simply doing your part, planting your seeds, and letting the rest go. You are no longer responsible for the outcome. You are only responsible for your courage. You do not have to hold yourself back any longer. You do not have to wait for an absolute certainty that will never arrive. True self-respect is found in giving yourself permission to try, to experience, to let the world move around you, and to trust that you will still be standing when the wind settles. Life is not asking you to be entirely fearless. It is simply asking you to be here, to participate fully in your own unfolding. When you let go of the frantic need to control the universe, you finally make space for the profound joy of simply being alive within it. You can step into the dark, you can untie the rope, the storm will pass, and the calm, blue sky will remain. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.